Hi, I'm Sharon O'Neill with the president of the Green Mountain Rug Hooking Guild, and I want to welcome you to the 21st Green Mountain Rug Hooking Guild Hooked in the Mountains Fiber Art and Rug Hooking Show, which is right here behind me. The Guild has been going for 30 years, and we started out in the valley, so we're really excited that being at Sugarbush brings us back to the valley, which is where our roots are. We're going to take a walk through the art gallery and show you some of the work that we have. We're going to start here. These rugs are not necessarily from all of our guild members. This is a traveling show. It's all bugs on rugs, magnificent bugs. And there are, the bugs go around here. And the artists and designers for these are from all over the United States and Canada. They're really quite incredible. You can see some people use iridescence or some add-on beads, things like that. Not all of the rugs are flat. As you can see here, they're multi-dimensional. We'll continue with the bug rugs down this way. So these walls are new. We just purchased these professional walls. Prior to having these walls, we would build our gallery walls and our gallery studio out of plywood, hammering, and then we'd have to hammer the rugs in. And these, we decided to make the investment to give us some flexibility for different show venues. But also, we set this up in 2 hours, this gallery up in 2 hours, as opposed to the multiple days it took us before. It's really such a great investment. Okay. Here's a back view of the gallery. We'll take a walk in there in a second. But we try to, it's sort of set up a little bit like a maze with a lot of flow, because a lot of people like to stand back to look at the artwork, because there's so much, as you can see in some of these pieces, there's so much going on in each piece. But we also want people to come around a corner and be like, oh, look at that over there, and be invited into the gallery. This is one of my rugs. And the story here is a friend of mine has a small farm, and she said on eclipse day, her chickens got all confused and were like, walk, 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 and went into the barn, and as soon as the sun came out, they kind of peeked out. And I just thought that was so funny and thought it needed a representation. This here is should I keep talking? These 4 pieces, this is our remembrance wall. We have lost 4 of our guild members since our last show, 3 of them recently. So this is Lynn Sewell, who started the Fiber Bees up in the Grand Isle area, and she died a couple years ago, but it was after our show. And then Sue Lathrop, Cindy Bear, and Nancy Toon just died recently. And these are people that are friends and part of our what feels like a fellowship, but also part of our history. So we really wanted to make sure that we had a remembrance space where people could sit and remember their friends, and it's nice to have them here. These 2 artists are award-winning and nationally recognized artists. What starts here are the winners from our last show that we had in Montpelier, which was our Hooked in the Mountains, our 20th show. And so here around the wall were the People's Choice winners or the judge winners. So one was a viewer's choice, but we also hire fiber artists to come in and look at all the rugs and choose some to represent what they feel like is different work, exemplary work. And so our judges just left. We just missed them. What you hear in the background, you hear a lot of voices in the background. Our opening is tonight, but we are always working on the show right up until our opening at 5 o'clock. And we started on site here at Sugarbush on Saturday with rug drop-off day. And then we've been working this week sorting rugs in colors and themes, setting up the walls, all of that. And you'll see as you're going through the gallery that there's a wide variety of rugs that people make. This is more of a traditional pattern or primitive style pattern. And then people do landscapes. This is from a photo. And then people also draw pictures and design their own images. I personally design almost all of my own rugs. This rug here by Stephanie Allen Krauss, she comes from a long line of her mother is a rug hooker, and her daughter is also a rug hooker. So there's 3 generations in her family of rug hookers. The rest of the bug rugs go around the corner. If you want to see those, we can walk there. I think, so a call went out to specific artists to make a bug rug. This is, sometimes things like this in the rug hooking community are called a challenge piece, or, where everybody is told to hook something with either the same pattern or with the same theme. And then we just like to see what people come up with. And of course we know there's like so many bugs. I love this one, this iridescence here, and the fact that it's by the window, you can really see the shining wings of the dragonfly, and I'm particular to dragonflies. I really love them. I mean, in all the shapes and the details, bugs are just so interesting. Look at the eyes on this one and the color detail. It's just really phenomenal. Okay, now we'll go into the gallery. This one was designed and hooked by Jen Davey, who is a past president and held other offices, and she was also our show chair this year, and she's also a scientist and a birder, so this is all asters and goldenrod. You see the bees and like that. And then we try to place on the walls. We spend a lot of time thinking about colors and how one color goes with the color of the rug next to it, and thematically as well. So when we're setting up, we have rugs on tables out there, on the floor, and we're walking around and we're choosing rugs to really make sure that aesthetically everything goes together really smoothly and nicely. This collection here was hooked by an Underhill artist, Sarah Berghoff, And these are based on real birds, but they're also a little fantasy, little fantasy thrown in here or there. And she worked on these. She just did it for fun, and she just on social media she just kept posting, when she would finish one. And so we asked her if she would put the whole collection in the show. And if you want to come up close, eventually you can see some of the backgrounds have some really. It looks like one solid from a distance, but it really has some interesting patterns. And so the way we hook in circles or back and forth can create movement in a piece. Or like here, this one looks like he's really stepping in water. And in this one, you really see the speed as well. Even our vases are hooked. So we just found this artist. Right here, just hold that up. Yeah.
Okay.
We just found this artist. This is Belinda Whippleworth,
Yeah.
who is our program chair for the Green Mountain Rug Hooking Guild. And she just got excited. She just saw her.
I just
rug on
saw
the wall.
that I
You
won.
didn't know that? It was
No,
here? Oh.
no, I just saw that I won a prize.
Oh, this is this year.
Yes.
I wondered why it wasn't over there. Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. Wow.
Excellent. Do you want to say anything beyond your shock?
Well, if I can pull myself together, this has a little bit of a story. I have an antique rug that has purple and orange in it, but the orange is faded. And so I wanted it to go in that same room. And I really like my monstera leaves. I have a great big monstera plant in my bedroom, so I thought, that'll be the outline, the border. And I had no idea what was going to go in the middle there. And then I thought, I've never done anybody else's pattern, but I love Dalof Ipkar's Tumbling Cats, which is, I think, a tiger and a leopard. So I'll do that because I've seen there's a pattern for that. And I found the book where the pattern was published. And then I found an article in Rug Hooking Magazine where it had a couple people had done that pattern. And then there was in a little square box note from the family. This is a copyrighted image. It never should have been made into a rug hooking pattern. Please respect that and do not make it. So, then I had to come up with my own design. I have cousins that live in Belize, and they run a helicopter company, and they also help to support wild animals from the jungle. There's a sort of a jungle zoo right there in Belize City, and one of the jaguars is named Junior. So I thought, I'll do one of Junior, and this actually is not him, but it's taken from a Mayan carving, jade carving, because the jaguar is a god in the Mayan religion. And actually in the original, in these claws and dripping out of his mouth is the heart of his victim. So I didn't put the heart in, but there is the spirit of the victim there. So
Wow.
there's the story.
What a treat. And congratulations.
Thank you.
I didn't even know they were putting the ribbons up yet.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, thanks. Thank you. Wow, thank you.
You got an original on-the-spot reaction. Rug hooking is it's a really old craft that has really grown into an art form. And so previously, or in the 1700s, people would reuse fabric, like if a dress or socks were falling apart, people always reuse them in knitting, rug hooking, rug weaving. And throughout the years, people have developed it into this amazing art form. And so what we do, most of the time we use wool. That would be traditionally, we would use wool. And people go to thrift stores, rummage sales, and sort of repurpose, reuse. But we also, I'll show you when we take a quick tour of the vendor section. There are also people who hand dye different color pieces where you get a lot of the variations that you see here. Like this would be a piece of wool that had been dyed into different colors. But then these are plaids, so we use plaids, and these could be new plaid fabrics or recycled plaid fabrics. And then the other thing is the thickness. We take that, and you can either rip it into strips or cut it into strips using a rotary cutter, or we have tools that cut them into strips. And the thicker strips make this more thick textural look. The thinner strips, like the one right behind you, you can really do some really fine work, all these color gradations. And this here, my guess is that this is fabric that has been dyed in different tones of reds to come out with that. And same with the mustard color up here. And this is a 3-cut. The backing, what the rugs are made on is, let's see if this one's not, can't really, they're pinned down for the show, but it's linen. It's a linen background. A lot of people say, oh, that's burlap. We don't use burlap because burlap just doesn't stand up over time. We use a really sturdy linen or something called Mugs cloth, which is cotton. And people, this may have been designed by someone, but this could also be a pattern. This is, any of these, I would say, how could I say this? Patterns, the vendors sell patterns that they draw, and then people hook, or individual artists also design their own patterns. And some might take traditional images and do their own design, or they might buy a pre-designed pattern like this, or like Belinda was just saying, she took elements of different things in history and art and combined them together in order to make her images. There's so many different ways that people come up with the images that they have. So some of our rug hookers, the width of the strip of wool that we use is, we give them different numbers depending on the thickness. This is a number 3, and number 3 is very thin. And because this artist, Marty Rochford, she's also an illustrator, I'm blown away at how she makes things look so painterly in this. I personally couldn't do this. I hook in wider strips, but the patience it takes to put each of those tiny little strips in there is impressive. A lot of our artists use, Vermont is just so beautiful, and we use a lot of what we see in our own backyards and our own fields to design and hook rugs. This is Suzanne Dermeyer from Waterbury Center, and she uses a lot of nature themes, as does Davy Mace, who does a lot of farm and landscape pieces.
I don't know why I love this one so much.
Yeah, and Davy Mace is
Looks like an impressionist.
yes, and she's also an award-winning rug hooker and designer, and she is also one of our instructors this week. So part of the week, we're open. We have the opening reception tonight from 5 to 7, and then the show runs Thursday through Sunday, and we have workshops each day too, which are in another building on the Sugarbush grounds, and Davy is one of our instructors who's going to teach people how to do landscapes and stuff like this. So we have some classes are 3 days, some classes are 2 days, and some are half a day. And then some of our rug hookers also combine braiding. This is Chris McDermott, who's on our board. She's one of our at-large board members, and she always combines braiding and hooking. And so this is one of her pieces, and then she has a larger installation over there. Here's another one with braiding along the outside. Right in front of us, this is a collection of rugs, Lesson from a Tree. Somebody taught a class, and the focus was on trees. And this is the interpretation of each of the people who were in the class, this installation right here in the center. And so it's always interesting how you can, like with the bugs, you give one topic and people interpret it in different ways, different styles. This is another piece of Chris McDermott's. I'll let you go ahead of me. This artist here, Grace Collette, she's from New Hampshire, and she uses a lot of beadwork in her pieces, which are really quite beautiful. And she hand strings, and she doesn't buy these beaded pieces, she puts them all together herself. And in this one, little pearls, little crystals. It's okay. I know. We have vendors here that sell things that we use in rug hooking. We have yarns and fabrics. This is Susan Snyder, one of our vendors from the Mad River Valley. Did you want to say anything else, Susan?
No, come on down this weekend.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Yeah. And baskets. I think rug hookers or fiber people like baskets just as much as they like having fabric and yarn. This is Stephanie Allen Krause's booth. She's the one that I said they have 3 generations of rug hookers in her family and designers, and she's Green Mountain hooked rugs, but she's just about to retire. So. So these are the pre-drawn patterns that I was telling you about too. And so people might not have a good sense or not trust their design, so they would buy a design and either follow instructions that might come with this or come up with their own color palette. And so all of these are patterns that people could buy. And people turn things into pillows, wall hangings. We do have people who actually put these pieces on the floor. I personally do not, after all the time that goes into it. Yeah. And so you can see here are some of the plaids. And they hook up into solids. And then these are the pieces that someone might buy to hand dye.
And are they then cut into strips?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What do you use to cut?
Some people use scissors. Some use a rotary cutter like a quilter would use. But then we also have these, let's see if anybody has one out. I don't see it. It looks kind of like a pasta maker, and you run the fabric through and you crank it and your strips come out the other side. Most rug hookers call those strips noodles. I personally call them Schnibbles because it means leftovers in German, and that was something that my kids' Oma said all the time. And so I call them Schnibbles, but most people call them noodles. And
Your mother?
that's my kids' great-grandmother, so their father's grandmother. Yeah.
Who
But
was also a rug hooker?
no, but just it's a German word for leftover scraps of anything. And she used the word all the time, and so it's a little nod to her. You might be able to see here. Someone did a sampler of what the plaids or the solids look like when they're hooked up. And I won't do this here because this isn't my piece, but if ever you're hooking and you don't like a color that you came up with, you just take one of these ends and go, and it just comes right out. Because what holds the lines together is the pressure of the fabric against the fabric. Are we going to have to teach you how to hook?
Yeah.
Come back. You can come to Sugarbush and come to our event anytime, Thursday through Sunday, and we have a hook-in room and we have an education table where we will teach you how to hook. You can watch people hooking and working on their projects and talk to the artists as they work, and we will also help you, teach you, we call it pull loops. We'll teach you how to pull loops, which is a little awkward at first, but you get used to it. And sometimes we have someone who comes who's never done it before, and they're like a pro right away. So. And then this is Nancy Jewett, and this is a kit that comes with a design, and it gives you suggestions for how to hook it. So there's all different levels for the level of creativity people feel that they have. I mean, look at this. It's just so gorgeous. There's a lot of color work that goes into it, and Nancy's made these charts so you can look at what color schemes might go with each other. Again, some people that comes naturally to, and other people like some guidance. You want me to hold it up?
Sure.
Okay, well, thanks for taking a tour with me in our gallery and in our vendor area. Green Mountain Rug Hooking Guild is going to be at the Sugarbush Resort for our 21st Hooked in the Valley Fiber Art and Rug Hooking Show. We have our opening reception tonight, which is Wednesday from 5 to 7. And then we will be here Thursday through Saturday from 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 3. And like I said, you can view the amazing artwork, you can purchase from our vendors, you can learn how to hook. Some people are here from all across the United States taking classes. Those classes are closed, but you can still learn how to rug hook. And then we also have a guild store where you can buy fiber-related items that have been donated or are on consignment, and they'll be at a discounted price. So come see us. We'd love to have you.